like you're running a race you cannot win? You ever find yourself in a place where you feel like you're starting behind the eight ball and not get going forward? And that's what it can feel like sometimes in our financial lives, right? We feel like we're running, 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 but we just can't win. Think about it like this. Back in high school, I used to run track. Believe it or not, I did run track anyway. And I used to run the four-legged relay, and I used to do shot put and the javelin throw. And so when I was doing the four-legged relay, the thing I would used to think about is that, I would always be the first leg, and then I would run as hard as I could, hand it off to the next person and yell, stick, and they would keep going and go to the next one. But I would kind of keep running because I want to see what's going on. But we always had this one girl on the team, cannot remember her name, but she would always be the last leg. And no matter how slow we started off in the beginning of the race, we would always end up in the front. We will always win because she knew how to make up the distance or any time or any fall behind that we had created in the first three legs. Well, think about your financial life like that. Imagine if someone had handed your generation, a stick and said, hey, here's some money, buy a house so that you can rent it out and build equity. Here's some more money, go start a business. Here's a way not to go into debt going into college. Here is the information you need to continue to build and build and build. And that's what we do here. We help you to learn what you need to learn so that you can be that family member, that woman that can take the stick and hand it to the next generation, and not just hand them debt, not just hand them bills, not hand them stress, not hand them bad stories, but to put you in a place where you can be able to just hand off wealth or hand off a wealthy mentality to the next generation. And then by the time it gets to the third leg and the fourth leg, now you're in a place where things can grow and grow and grow. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to really, really put our effort in and win the race. So that's my story for today. I'm your girl, Saran. I'm here to help you build wealth. I help six-figure women go from chaos to calm with their finances so that they can have more joy in their life and create a plan for themselves of generational wealth, generational strength so that they can be all that they can be and they can not outlive their money. So I'm excited to be here with you today, again, this Monday at 8:30 p.m. I'll have a special guest this week. It looks like I might have two special guests. He doesn't even know he's about to be a special guest. But I'm excited to be back with you here on Chaos to Calm, because here we focus on the mind, the body, and the spirit of money, because all those things tie to what we do with our money, how we gain money, how we grow money, and how we keep money and keep ourselves in a place where we're learning, growing, and becoming. So it's important to tap in. I would love for you to get connected with me in my multiple communities. Please be sure to go to subscribe and hit like on YouTube if you're watching me from YouTube. If you're on Facebook, head over to YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe, but go ahead, like and share. The important thing is that in that example I gave you when we started the story, every person on the team mattered, because the first person who received the information had to pass it on. And so that's why I always say like and share. You have to receive. You can't just receive this information. You have to receive it and pass it on and pass it on and pass it on. So every week I do share a financial or an affirmation that you can take with you throughout the week as you are rebuilding or reframing your mindset so that you can learn and grow. And this week's affirmation is, I am worthy of healing my mind, my body, and my spirit. I am worthy of healing my mind, my body, and my spirit. And I will share that affirmation in the comments with you. So that you can have it, and you can wake up in the morning and say it to yourself. You can say it to your children. You can say it to your coworker, say it to your spouse, but get in the habit of saying these things to yourself. And I know some people say 3 times, say it 21 times, say it 50 times, say it 75 times. You are reprogramming years and years of information and connections in your brain that you don't know that you are undoing. So I'm excited this week to not only just tell you that amazing story as we come in, but to have a special guest here with us, um, Dr. Lorie Nichols. She is an amazing woman. She is a certified financial education instructor. I hope I said the right thing. And she's a part of the American Financial College. I think I said the AFC right. I forgot to write it down. But she's not only that, she is an amazing speaker. She's an amazing woman who has an amazing story to share with us as we go through. Because as you know, I asked my guests about their financial journeys. Just because we are where we are now doesn't mean we weren't somewhere else before and were able and didn't have to come through a level of chaos to get to calm. And so that's very, very important. Before we bring Lorie on, there is something very important. I have two very special, important announcements. It might be three. But the first announcement is, don't forget that on September the 20th, my first book comes out, Destiny Expose, the anthology. It's a book of leading women where we tell our stories of how we went from where we were to leadership, where we came from to how we got to where we are. And you want to get that book. There's a lot of amazing stories. I've had a few of the guests here over the last couple of weeks, and I probably have some more on the weeks coming, but you don't want to miss it, because I think the most important part of it is the connection, so that you are not alone. You're not the only one who has gone through, and that not only can you get through, but you can elevate and go to a place of leadership. The second announcement is that it is Life Insurance Awareness Month. And I will be remiss as a financial professional not to say it's Life Insurance Awareness Month. And if you need assistance with understanding life insurance, getting some for a loved one, this is the place to be. You can inbox me. You can set up an appointment. I can help you set it up. And if your question is, can I do all that fancy stuff you see them talking about TikTok and on Instagram? Yes, I can do that too. So I do all of it. But I wanted to just make sure I made mention of that, because it's very important. And actually, I have 2 episodes at the later part of September where I'm bringing on some other financial colleagues who also specialize in life insurance, where we're going to talk to you about ways to use it while you're living for the things you want to do, not the things you have to do. And you can use it for the things you have to, but ways to use it for the things you want to do, and ways to use it to empower yourself and to build up the life that you want to live. So with that, I want to introduce to some and present to others my friend. And I had to laugh when she came on, because I was like, I spent all this time with her. Earlier this year, we were in person at a conference in Florida, and then we do a lot of Zoom calls and stuff together. And I was like, wait a minute, you got a whole doctorate? And I didn't know the whole time this chick has a doctorate degree. Okay. And I thought to myself, I said, that's amazing, because I attract smart people. So it only makes sense that we're together. But Dr. Lorie A.L. Nichols, she has been featured in Forbes as one of America's premier expert. She's a distinguished professional with a robust background in counseling, teaching, and research. She's been engaged in the field of mental health for 30 years. See, that's what I told y'all, I'm bringing the people in here. But she's also with the doctorate, I don't want to leave that, in clinical psychology. I guess Medea would say clinical, but in clinical psychology. And she has presented at numerous conferences on a variety of different things and topics. But she also serves as an adjunct professor at the City University of New York. Of course, she's from New York. I'm from New York. Why wouldn't I find somebody from New York to come be on a podcast with me, right? But she's a certified financial educational instructor and an accredited financial counselor. And so she blends her expertise with psychology and money to help individuals to increase their skills for better mental health and financial well-being. See how they go together? Y'all thought I was just playing. They go together, right? But she's engaging. And the most amazing thing that I do love about her is that she has an amazing testimony and an amazing story of her financial journey, which hopefully she'll tell us toward the end. But she's not just in academics. She loves to bake sweet treats. She loves to volunteer. She builds homes with Habitat for Humanity. She helps animals with the ASPCA, and she has does some engaging activities with the food networks for No Kid Hungry and God's Love We Deliver. And she even gave me her favorite quote. Her favorite quote is, "The struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for purpose." And that was the late great Chadwick Boseman. So I'm going to bring on the stage Lorie. And Lorie, you can bring yourself into the room any way you feel comfortable.
It is a pleasure to be here, Saran. Thanks for inviting me to your audience. And yes, I definitely want to share my story, my struggle from your theme, your chaos to calm. And if you'd like me to start that now, I can definitely do that.
Oh yes, listen.
Just let
So
me know.
we're gonna drop some nuggets here, but tell us a little bit, and this is probably where you're gonna tell us the story. Tell us how you even came into the financial education and the financial arena a little bit. And I think this is your chaos to calm story. So go ahead and let us know a little bit about you.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, audience, have you ever dreamed of something so bad and chased it so hard, and then you got it, and then it felt like it was slipping away from your hands? Well, that was my reality. And that was for my one bedroom condo. I had spent years attending workshops and programs and first time home buyer programs on buying a piece of real estate because I had always heard investing in real estate is the place to go. And I finally took the plunge and I bought my first piece of real estate, a one bedroom condo. And so, of course, well, you got the home, now you have to fix it up. So then I started going shopping and buying things to fix my home up. And I was just so excited. I had finally took the plunge. Things were going well. I was in my career, counseling families, counseling people, and everything was going great. And then the next month, I got a letter from my mortgage company indicating that my mortgage was going to increase. I didn't think anything of it because, after all, as a renter, my rent went up every year. $10, $20 was usually the most. So here I thought I was being financially savvy. I put my little $20 to the side, and so I'd be prepared for that increase in my mortgage. But when that mortgage bill came, my mortgage had pretty much almost doubled in price, and I just knew there was a problem. I knew there was a mistake. So I called the mortgage company and I let them know. I told them, "Oh, you all made a mistake on my bill. This has to be corrected." So the lady looked into it and she came back to the phone. I said, "No, there's no mistake. That's your new payment." And I couldn't believe it. So I was like, "Okay, I'm going to do what I have to do." And that was, as we all know, that expression, steal from Peter to pay Paul. And for me, that meant not paying my credit card bill to be able to use that money to make that payment for my mortgage so I could keep that roof over my head. And I thought I was all good because I had found a strategy. Then the following month, my credit card bills came in and all of them had increased in interest rate. My interest rate on my credit cards had been at 9%. And when they came in, they were at 25%, and 38% was the highest one. And I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So I called the credit card company that I had never been late on, had never missed a payment on, and had been with the longest. And I said to them, "Why is my credit card bill high?" And the lady explained to me, "Yes, Miss Nicholas, we see that you've been an on-time payer, you've never missed a payment, but did you read the fine print? The fine print stated, although you may never be late on our bill, if you're late on another bill, we have the right to increase your payment. And apparently, all the credit card companies have the right, and they all increase my payments. So now I was at my wit's end. I couldn't believe what was going on because I definitely didn't expect this. My mortgage was increased, all my credit cards had increased. And now I was just like, I don't know what to do. So I made calls to the credit card companies, I made calls to my mortgage company, trying to get some relief, trying to get somebody to decrease that interest rate on all of my payments. And all I kept hearing from the mortgage companies was, sorry, Miss Nicholas, we can't help you. Your debt to income ratio is too high and your credit scores are too low. And it seemed like they all memorized that line because I kept hearing that over and over again. And as I was falling into a depression, not knowing what to do, feeling hopeless, and just at my wit's end, I watched the news and I saw families who are also in similar situations like me being evicted from their homes. Their belongings were thrown out on the street like trash. And I wondered, am I going to be next with this? So I was completely in a disbelief. And I was too embarrassed to go to get help because I'm a professional. I provide counseling to people. I help other people with their problems. And now I'm the one with the problem. How could I go to anybody and let them know I got a problem? So one day I was sitting trying to figure this all out. And I said to myself, if a client came to you and they had the same problem and asked you for help, what would you advise them to do? And no sooner I thought that, the answer came to me. Research it. Research your way out of it. Read about it. Study it. And that's what I started to do. I started looking up how to get out of debt. I started researching ways that they were advising people to get out of their financial situation. And as a result of researching and looking into things, and the key piece, implementing things, I was able to get my credit scores lowered from 38% down to 5%. And I was able to save my home. And that was like the biggest blessing for me in terms of getting out of my situation, to take matters into my hands and take action and implement. And so that's how I got involved. But there's another key piece. As you heard Saran mention, I was a volunteer for Habitat for Humanity. And interesting enough, their families who we built homes for were also falling into this situation of almost losing their homes. And so Habitat for Humanity trained their volunteers as lone rangers. And as a result of providing financial education to the families, I was able to talk because I had been in their shoes. And I was able to share my experiences in terms of what worked. And it was really as a result of that experience that I enjoyed helping people, because I never wanted to see anybody go through that situation that I went through. And as a result of that experience, I became a financial educator. I got certified in financial education instruction, and I also became an accredited financial counselor so I can help other people. I can't hear you. You're on mute. You're on
Look,
mute.
I love your story and how you got here, because I think it's so important for people to know that um, our financial educators and our financial professionals have a story too, and they're willing to share, because a
Yes.
lot aren't. A lot of people do keep it kind of close to the vest because they feel like, I can't tell people I had a challenge, and because this is what I'm doing. And the reality is the fact that you were able to come out of that situation with your home, not just come out, but come out with it, and be able to then go back and help others immediately, and even sounds like while you were still in it, is a big deal.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
and that's why I have these sessions, I have these lives, because I want people to understand that, you have access to credible, licensed, certified people like us who can help you. But if you don't reach out and say anything because you're hiding in the shame or whatever it is you feel like, whatever you made up, how could this happen to me? You don't want anybody to know. Or my favorite line is people always getting it together to meet with me. I'm like, why are you getting it together to meet with me? It's my job to get you together.
True. So true.
So
So true.
I mean, that was an absolute amazing introduction, Lorie. And so, we're gonna just, talk a little bit here. Because you have so much a unique background, right? Because it's not just about the money. You do clinical psychology, so you have some of the know-how,
Yes.
the inner workings of the brain that happen while you're going through that. And I guess the thing is that what do you feel like are some of the ways that financial stress manifests itself?
And it's interesting that we're having this conversation during the month of September because
Mhm,
September is mental health month also. You mentioned
mhm,
it's life insurance month. It's also mental health month. And when I'm doing counseling, I realize that along with the presenting issues people come in with, there's a money piece underlying it. And you heard me sharing my story, how I felt embarrassed and depressed. And so that financial stress, if I could say to your audience, imagine not being able to pay a bill and you got the creditors calling you, hounding you, emailing you, and they want their money. What does that feel like when you can't pay that bill? What does it feel like when your child comes to you and they say that the school wants money for a trip for them? And you have to tell that child, I can't do it. You can't go on that trip. So that financial stress that impacts you from not being able to cover your immediate expenses, that's a heavy weight. And in fact, I want to share with the audience that I had some notes that CNBC and US News Money, they said that 64% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck.
mhm,
But what if that paycheck doesn't come and you're relying on that paycheck to pay your immediate bills, to keep a roof over your head, food on the table, clothes on your children's back? You're
right.
living paycheck to paycheck and it doesn't come. You begin to experience all kinds of feelings of anxiety, sweating palms, not being able to sleep, not being able to eat or eating too much. It impacts your body. And lots of times people don't think that financial stress impacts their body. A lot of people don't
Mhm.
even know about financial stress. They just know they have a headache, they have a migraine, and they don't know where it's coming from. What is it related to? Or their stomach is hurting, or they feel like they're at their wits' end, and why am I feeling like this? So yes, it plays a big role in terms of our money issues. So
And I
please,
love
if you're
that you
feeling
said that.
stressed about your money, mhm,
I love that you said that because the financial stress shows up differently for everyone, right? At the end of the day, when you have financial stress, I know what my financial stress looks like. I know what it does to me. I know that, if you can identify your financial stress, I'll identify mine. I know I can't sleep. My body starts to ache. I have aches and pains. I'll get headaches. The biggest thing for me is I'll get a sinus infection, and that sinus infection will take me out for a week. I won't be able to do anything. I can't breathe. Um, and it's a big deal. My skin starts to break out. Like it's like I know what happened. So it's not, and I know we're talking about financial stress, but because I've been tracking myself as a part of my well-being, I know when things get to a certain point stress-wise, I know the signals in my body. So then I can subvert them. I can go do different things. I can make sure I take my allergy medicine. I can go exercise so that I'm not in pain. I could go figure out what's the thing that's stressing me and research, like you said in your story, research, how can I solve this problem? And if I can't solve it, how can I mitigate it? How can I manage it so that I'm not, my body's not induced and my body's not going all over the place and I'm not able to function anymore? Because if I get sick, now I'm really out of the game. And the thing is that, oh, and by the way, I'm an overthinker. Raise your hand in the chat if you're an overthinker. Just put me in the chat if you're an overthinker, right? So we'll think about it forever, and that causes the lack of sleep. And then guess what? Lack of sleep causes you to not do. I mean, lack of sleep causes a whole bunch of other things. You're driving tired. You're at work. You're not at your best, or you're doing your business. You're not at your best, and so it's important to really just learn about those. And that's why I asked the question, what do you feel like? How does it manifest itself? Because it's going to look different for some people. Some people lash out. Some people get angry. They say one of the number one causes of divorce is finances, right? I think it's number two, it might be right behind adultery, but I don't know. But finance is a big stressor in relationships, right? And so that could create all kinds of abuse. And so even in your example with the kids, the response to the kids might not be so gentle, that they can't do it. There may be anger in the parent that they can't provide, and that gets lashed out and taken out on the children. And so it's really important for us to think about and to get in place and get things taken care of. Because the mental health and the money go hand in hand. And that's why I'm so excited to have you here with me today. So let me ask you this
And that's why I
question.
love your affirmation too. I am worthy of healing mind, body, and spirit. That is so fitting for this
Yeah.
topic today.
And I change the affirmation every week. So you never know what it's going to be. I have a little affirmation deck that I use to kind of figure out what the affirmation is going to be for the week, because I want it to be real. I want it to be able to connect with what we're talking about. And because we're talking about the mind and money and healing. And now that you mentioned this mental health month, I'm going to add that to my conversation, because having certain things in place can create a sense of peace in your life. So let me ask you this question. Do you know any of the ways that poor financial management or bad debt and things like that can affect someone's mental health in the long run?
Absolutely. If it's not managed right, and if it's not managed immediately, it can cause problems in your cognitive mindset in terms of being able to think clearly. It can cloud your decision making judgment, and it can cause problems, especially work. If you're having problems with your finances, and then you're also having problems at work, you might, as Saran said, with anger, you might snap, and you don't know where that's coming from because that's not you. But yet, it may cloud your judgment. Problems sleeping too much, or not being able to sleep at all. I talked about eating too much and not being able to eat at all. So it has long-term effects. It can affect your heart rate. It can either speed up your heart rate, give you sweaty palms, make you feel dizzy, give you headaches, constant pounding headaches that you don't know where they're coming from or what it's connected to. So it is important. And the worst case scenario, because during the time that I was going through my situation, the subprime mortgage crisis, and some of the banks were also going through this and being saved by other large companies, there were also people committing suicide. And that's the worst case scenario, when someone is at their wits' end and they feel they can't take it anymore, and they feel that their family will be better off without them. And they're not used to not having any money. They're not used to not having money come through to cover their expenses and their bills. And they're not used to juggling and say, okay, well, I can do something else to make some money in the meantime. The worst case scenario is suicide.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in our community, a few comedians. I love comedy. If you didn't know this about me, Lori, a few comedians talked about it. Dave Chappelle, he talked about it in one of his episodes. One of his examples was about a guy who he went through all this, made all this money. He was like a famous football player, whatever, made all this money, lost it all. And he runs into the guy at Foot Locker or one of those sneaker places wearing the shirt or whatever. He just grinding it out, like, whatever, let me just do it. And then he gives the example of someone not from the melanated community went through all that, jumps off a building. He's like, but this other guy, it never occurred to him to do it. It's just like, let me just make it happen. And it's one of those things that as um Black people, sometimes we think we're so used to the hustle and the grind that we don't often recognize when we are in distress or when our bodies are in distress. And that's how so many can be walking around and have had a mild stroke or a mild heart attack. And then they go to the doctor 2 weeks later or a week later and they're like, you had a stroke. We don't notice these things because we're not in tune with our bodies, because we're so in tune with the grind of it all and the hustle to get it done by any means. And we don't take that separation to kind of connect and know where we are and what we're doing. And so that's why it's important for us to have these types of discussions and for you to like and share these discussions so that other people can be a part of the conversation. But to have that so that we can have a shift. Now, I know there's a lot of jokes about this new generation, these new generations coming through. I mean, I'm a Gen Xer. I think they're soft. I mean, there's no other word for it. It's like why are you so soft? Just get something done, right?
Just get another job. Right, exactly.
Yeah, so like, you're like, that's so soft. Just get up and grind. It's just like, no, I need my support blanket. You're 40. You're 30. But on the other hand, a lot of us Gen Xers and some, late bloomers who are close to the Gen X, we worked so hard and we were so independent. We're immune to a lot of those things. And it may be to our detriment, right? Health wise, because we're getting into the 50s and 60s and people aren't able to notice or realize that they've been grinding for so long. And even the words that we use, I was with one of my spiritual coaches. She was talking to us about just the word hustle itself. What does that elicit in your body when you say it? Right? And what does it make your body feel like? Does it make you tense up? Does it make you get on your guard? Make you, add attention? Back to my example of track, you're on the starting line, you're in position and you're holding your hand, you got to pop your head up. That moment before that gun goes off for you to get in the race is the tensest moment of the race, because once you're in the race, you're there, you're building momentum, you're going. But when you're getting ready to go, that's where it's intense. And that's the real thing. And part of this conversation, we want to have this conversation is because we want to pass on the wealth is not just money, right? Which is why this conversation is about money, mindset, and spirit. Wealth is about passing on the mentality to be able to keep it. Because how many of you know, if you're watching live, how many of you know if someone came and gave you $100, $1 million right now after tax, that you probably would not have it within a year to 2 years? And the reason is because you got the money without the mentality to go with the money, to continue to grow it, to continue to keep it. We get it. I often challenge people to say, hey, tomorrow, you're going to get $1 million tax free or after tax. What's your plan? Oh, but here's the caveat. You can't pay bills. You can't pay down any debt. You can't give it away. You can't take care of family. What are you going to do with the money? Because most people don't think past those things because we're still in survival mode. We're still surviving, take care of the family, pay the bills, um, help somebody else. You can't, what else have you learned to do with the money, right? Um, and so that's why we're here to talk about, get you in the mindset to just help you understand that this is a shift. So I want to ask you this, Lorie, because I love this conversation. I think I'm gonna come. When I come to New York, I'm coming by the condo.
Oh, please, all means, yes.
Are there any like tools or psychological tools or mental practices that people can do to kind of help de-stress, even if the financial problem hasn't gone away, but they can get
Absolutely.
on the path to kind of working on it?
Absolutely. Meditation. In fact, my brother, he does meditation on Sunday mornings. He has a meditation set up just to help people relax, learn to breathe, and breathing is important too. Breathing, meditating, listening to music, listening to something that you enjoy that relaxes you. And music is universal. There's usually, depending on whatever music you like to listen to, music is usually something that people can put on, relax to, dance to, and get out of that funky mood that they might be in or feeling stressed. Talking to someone, whether it's a counselor or whether it's a really good friend who's non-judgmental about, really, you spent your money on that, well, that's why you're in that situation now. Someone who's non-judgmental, but someone who will listen and let you just vent, because you may already be feeling guilty and upset about how you used your money. But listening to music, breathing exercises, meditation, working out, going for a walk, things that don't cost any money, the things that I'm naming, going for
Right.
just a walk in weather, and you'll be surprised how just walking just clears your mind. Watching a good movie, putting on something that will make you laugh. We talked about comedians, putting on something that will make you laugh and just change your mood. Because sometimes when you clear your mind, you can think clearly and figure out what to do with your situation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also helpful because now you can come back with a clear mind and think about what you can do to deal with your situation.
Yeah.
The easiest thing for people to say is, oh, yeah, you know, pay down your debt and all that. But there's, like you said, when you're going through it, you need to get yourself to a place where you can think clearly to move forward so you can begin to do those things.
Yeah, I love that. And Karen in the chat, she said journaling, and she said invest in the
Yes.
business. And Karen, thank you so much for those ideas. Sometimes people aren't in a place to have money to go into a business. However, one of the things we do talk about here is the money exists. And the
Mhm.
question is, are you going to do what it takes to create what you need to create to attract the money? We are of the abundance mindset from the perspective of you have the ability to create and earn any amount of money you want to earn if you just decide to do it and then take action. And this is a part of the research, figuring out what it is you're good at, because we all come here from birth with something of value to bring into the world, something that
Yes.
someone will pay you for that will generate money for you to do whatever it is. Because here's the thing, and I've said this on multiple occasions, money isn't real. Money is energy. And I know people always get in their little feelings when I say money isn't real, because they say, how do I spend zero money? But money isn't real from the perspective of it does not become real until you spend your time, your talent, and your energy to go do something that will generate that money to come back to you. Be it you have a place where you may go and do work for someone else, be it a business where you provide a service, a product, a service, or something to that effect, where someone can pay you, or where you bring a huge piece of value into the world where people are going to pay you dollars and dollars and dollars, millions of dollars, right? And we're sitting, I mean, and here's the thing. I always tell people this is when we go back to the scripture, any scripture in any religion is going to tell you this. You were created in God's image. And so if you were created in God's image and God is a creator, then what makes you think you are not here to create? And what you create can be the thing that creates the stream of income to do whatever it is you need to do. Now, you can take me to the bank on this. You can go on any YouTube platform or any platform and type money isn't real, and 1,000 videos are going to pop up because there are a lot of people out here explaining it. Because originally there's a book, I forgot the name of the book. It's like Money, the History of Money or something. I'll get the name of the book. But they talk about how money was created. And it really came about because there was a situation where someone went to another country to provide service, and it was not physically able to send this person home with like 100 goats or whatever the livestock was they wanted to trade. So they gave them some copper pennies or some wood pennies in exchange to say, hey, this is in exchange for the service you provided, because we can't give you the livestock or whatever it is we're going to give you. And so that's why you as individuals have the ability to create whatever wealth you want. The only limitation is between your two eyes, what's in your head. And that's why I bring smart people like Lorie, who is in psychology, to help us get out of our heads and get back into the place where we were born to be, which is creation or being a creator. So let me see here. And I see a couple more people in the chat. Actually, I just mentioned you, Sasha. Hi, Sasha. So I was talking about the hustle example you gave us a couple of weeks ago. But that is really the space that we're in here. We really have to be creators of our own destiny and allow ourselves to say there's nothing that can limit me but me. And every no isn't a no. It's just a no is more of a next. What's the next thing if this is a no? So thank you so much. Now, for someone who may be dealing with financial stress or having some challenges over years, what would you recommend to them? And what do you think are some healthy financial habits maybe they can start to build, right? Because I see people all the time. I consult with people, and some people, they're savers, some people are spenders, or some people just trying to create wealth. And I love all three types of people because there's something that can be done in each space. So what are some of the things that you recommend?
Yes, and it's interesting you say that because I've had couples where one is the saver and one is the spender, and it's like there's the conflict. And they come in with, hey, we're having conflict, and you realize it's a money scenario. So yes, definitely. And everybody's experience is going to be different because everybody handles things differently. So depending on what they present with, sit down and just assess what their financial situation is. Talk about how they're feeling about it, understand what they're going through, understand how it's impacting their body, and then help set up a plan with them in terms of managing, like some of the things we named, in terms of things to do to relax.
Mm-hmm.
And then focus on the tips of, well, what can we do? That B word, set up the budget, look at where there might be some room to save, if there's any. And if there's not, okay, we got to come up with a different type of plan in order to find some money. And that might mean going in there and figuring out where we can reduce some expenses. That latte factor, spending money on coffee every morning or breakfast every morning, seeing where we can cut down on some expenses, and then looking to see if we can then reduce some of that credit card debt if that's where the issue is falling. Or is it a spending habit where they're spending their money? They get the money, they spend it. Because there's another piece, when you're feeling depressed and you go shopping, retail therapy, we call it retail therapy, where you're feeling depressed and you go shopping to help you feel better. And if that's the concern and that's what the person's dealing with, then we focus on that. There's also gambling. I've dealt with people who do gambling and they feel better because they win some, they lose some. It's that up and down factor. And they do gambling to get out of their situation because they think if I hit it, I can pay all my bills off and I'm good. So depending on what they come in with is where the focus will go in terms of the plan that needs to be set up.
I had a funny thought. I call it the wish factor. They wish, it's like I hope, like this is. It's like if I got a dollar
I'm
in the
gonna
dream,
hit.
this is gonna solve all my problems. And it's one of those things where money isn't going to be the thing to solve your problem. It's all right here. It's all the mindset. It's all working on the mindset first because that is what's going to attract more to you, more wealth, more opportunities. I've talked to when I talk to people sometimes, the biggest challenge is they don't even have if you or I came to them and said, hey, I got an opportunity for you to invest, it's $250. They don't have $250 to be able to invest to potentially make whatever it is we're going to be able to offer if they're able to put in $250 or $1,000 or whatever the number is that might be nominal, but it does require you to put in first. So that becomes really one of the things that, we really want to get people in that mindset. And I love the plan because that's exactly, what we do. I love to see people's eyes light up when I say, all right, you're going to be in debt for 40 years. Now you're going to be out in 8. How do you like that? Or, and that really with the plan, not by yourself. Right. So what do you feel like are, um, what are some final thoughts maybe you want to leave the audience with? And of course, tell people how to connect with you, to like, share, and follow you and your audience as you're helping people as well.
So I would say remain connected with platforms such as this one that Saran is doing every Monday. Get this information, get this knowledge, learn about saving. You just heard Saran say some people don't even have $250 in their bank accounts because they're using that money to basically make ends meet. Work toward building up an emergency fund so that you always have some money in your account to use. I know it's all easier said than done, but put that mindset into place like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get this done. And then when you have some money, learn about some investment strategies, diversify your money so that your money, I like to think of it as just like you go to work, your money's going to work too. And they got their little briefcases and they're going to make you more and more money. Just like I had the problem with interest on my credit cards. Now you earn interest on your money through the stock market and make money. So in terms of ways to connect with me, I would say my website, The Financial Recovery Doctor, thefinancialrecoverydoctor.com. And I have on there a free resource, Curing Your Financial Blues. All you have to do is enter in your contact information and you will receive that download. So I'm hoping that along with this platform, your audience will continue to educate themselves, but the key piece is implement. It's great to listen to the information. It's great to have the resources of all the speakers you bring into your platform that they hear from, but the key piece is implement. And if you're not sure how, please reach out to Saran and say how, so that she can give you that plan of how. Because I want to pass that baton on so that no one ever ends up in a situation like I had. And I'm sure you too, Saran, you want to make sure that our audiences, the people we work with, our family, don't end up in that same situation that we've had, leaving a legacy of generational wealth.
Yeah. And health. And I love that. Thank you so much. I put your website in the comments and I'll update it in the show notes. And it's important for us to really understand that moving forward is having a plan. And I tell people, you don't have to wait to have money to learn about money. The time to learn about money is when you don't have it. So you can have some big ideas and some big plans on what you want to do, you know, and that really becomes the space and the place where you like, oh, okay, well, I'm learning a little bit about stock market. I'm learning about using strategic insurance. I'm learning about making how to do my retirement plan. I'm learning how to make sure I'm learning a little bit about real estate. You really don't, you won't learn until you do. And that's how we have to think about teaching our kids these things early. Start showing you, if you know how to do something in the stock market, start showing your kids now how they can own a little bit of their company, of a company. If they love some brand of sneakers, then show them how to buy the stock so they can not only just own the sneaker, but own a piece of the company. And so it's those little things that we will learn as we go along. So thank you so much, Lorie, Dr. Lorie, for coming in
And I
tonight.
also want to say
Yeah,
too, a lot of times people think you need so much money to start investing, but you don't. $10, $20. You don't. And just keep $10 every month.
yeah. And it's so easy. It's
Nothing next
way
up.
easier now than it was 20 years ago.
Right.
So you definitely
Yes.
don't need a whole boatload. And
Mhm.
again, this is where going to someone who's in the industry like me and Lorie will help. I have my financial super friends come because I want the people that I serve, my friends, my family, the other people that I've attracted as audience members, they can reach out, especially if they feel like, man, I don't want to talk to Saran. I got to see her at brunch. I want them to still be able to get the information, even though it's not a big deal. I'm a fiduciary. I'm not gonna run around and tell people stuff, right? So, but the thing is that we want you to feel safe in a safe place and get plans, because if we don't get them, then the people who will suffer will be generations after us. And for my rich aunties who say, man, I don't got no kids, I don't need to do none of that. Yes, you do. Because one day you're gonna get older and you're gonna need somebody to take care of you. So you need to understand your money, and you need to teach your nieces and nephews and your god babies and all the people around you that's younger how to handle money, because one day they're gonna have to take care of you. So
Absolutely.
let me know. I love to be of service. If there's any way that I can be of service to you, Lorie, then please, let me know. We have to be in connection. I'm gonna
Absolutely.
close out real quick. Hang in the back for me for 1 second.
Okay.
So here's the deal, ladies. Let me see if I can. All right, that has been another amazing episode of Going from Chaos to Calm with Your Finances. I thank you for joining me live with my wonderful guest, Dr. Lorie Nicholas, from straight out of New York. Y'all know I'm a New Yorker, so I got to bring my New York people to the table. And I'm so excited to be able to share her with you and share her information and share some real financial truths as you go on this journey to learn about you, your money, and how you can elevate as women in the industry and as people who are just doing our best to be everything that we want to be. We want you to be financially, mentally, and spiritually sound so that you can enjoy the good things in life. We were not put here just to work. We are not here to work and not enjoy life. So put some enjoyment in that plan. Find a way to connect and stay connected. Just as a little reminder, the book drops when? September 20th. I'll be sure to post a link. So, my first book, Destiny Expose, the anthology, A Story of Leading Ladies and How They Came to Leadership, will be coming out on September the 20th. I would love if you're able to get your copy. And I'll be sure to email and post so that you have the link where you can get that book. Be sure to come back every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Be sure to click like, share, and subscribe so that you can get more information and we can be here. But if you are looking for a community of women, like-minded women, to help you along your financial journey, just please feel free to join my community. Sister Sense. You can search for it on Facebook. And I'll put the link in the chat. But please join the community where we are building a community, a safe space for women to learn, earn, and grow together. So, with that, peace, love, and light. It's your girl, Saran. Let's get that money right. Bye.